Hello my fellow crafters and welcome back to Inspiration for Cards. My name is David and today I'm going to making a card for you. And not just any card. I had some exciting posts in the mail today, and that is the new release from Lavinia stamps. And as you may or may not know, I'm a huge fan of Lavinia stamps. I love them. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't do anything for them. I just love it. I love the mystical feel, etc. So let me show you what I got. All these stamps, look at that. And this is not even everything, but I just love them. I love the dandelions, the different ones, and they are so detailed. They're lovely. This one is also very beautiful. So we get to play with them in the future because I'm not going to be using this one. I love her as well. Okay, I can look at this forever, and but I'm not going to use these today. I'm going to use some other ones. That is these. So I'm going to use this sentiment, keep on smiling. I'm going to use the mini leaf creeper, that one. I'm going to use the, what is it called? Small lily flourish. I'm going to use the leaf creeper, the big one. I'm going to use May, beautiful, beautiful stamp. And I'm going to use the moon mask. So let's get a piece of paper out. So I've got my card base here, which is standard watercolor paper. And I'm going to use my Sharpie. And before I do anything else, I'm just gonna create a faux matte layer because I like that a lot. So just going around this with a Sharpie. And why I do that now and not later on, it's quite simple actually, because I've messed up many cards that I went over like that. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it first now, because it doesn't matter whether we do it first or last. But I just like the effect of that black faux matte layer. Just very tiny. Like that. You see it? So now let me switch cameras because then we will get to the real deal. I think I'm going to take my craft sheet just simply because I'm going to be playing with a lot of water and inks on this to create the background, because I want to create the illusion. Are we in the middle? Like so. Yeah. I want to create the illusion of sort of a sunset feel. So I've got a big, the 300, the number 1 brush from Lavinia that I've dipped into water. So I've got that ready. I've got several element inks, and I'm going to start with the Merlot at the top, then the violet, and then the russet orange. So those are the 3 colors that I'm going to be using, and I'm gonna put them onto my craft sheet. Put a good amount on there. Like so. There we go. So I'm gonna spritz my card front and back. Just to give it already some moisture. And then I'm going to start with the orange at the bottom. I'm just gonna put that on there like so. Now because I've also spritzed the back, it's not gonna warp on me that much, but there will be a lot of water on here and there will be some warping. That is, well, you can't help that. So next is that violet chalk. And last, beautiful, that Merlot. I'm in love with Merlot. Such a beautiful color. And that blends in with the violet chalk beautifully. I'm just going to put on a bit more of that color. And then I'm going to dry that. And I'm going to take a piece of paper because I don't want that orange to go up that much. So I'm just going to dab that off a bit. There we go. So next I'm cleaning off my brush. And I'm picking up a bit more of that orange. I'm just going to put that on there. Gonna layer that over what I've just put on there and what has just dried. Just intensifying that color a bit, but using less water. That is key then. Just like that, I'm building that color up. And picking up that Merlot. Like that. Then I'm going to dry it again. Now it doesn't have to be perfectly dry. Let's get that clear. It's as long as it's not there's not any moisture on top of the card. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brush, dip it into my color, and then I'm just going to lightly zigzag over that, creating a bit of structure over that background. Like that. And I'm going to dry again. So it's a bit repetitive, but it creates a beautiful background. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my Tim Holtz, the Distress sprayer, and I'm just going to put some droplets on there. I want big droplets, so I'm really just pushing it sideways, or just partly, and that creates the droplets. That's what I love about this sprayer. I'm just giving that some time to sink in, and that will do some faux bleaching. Press on my paper towel, creating that mystical background. Love that. That's what I had in mind. I just love that. Now I'm really going to give this a thorough dry, so it's completely dry, before I do my stamping. Okay, so that's all done. Now what I want to do is I want to stamp my no, actually, I'm going to intensify this a bit by, yeah, I'm going to stamp first. Sorry, make up your mind, David. So I'm going to stamp out May first. And I'm going to position her right in the middle of the card. Like that. Where's my block? Here's my block. So she's quite big, so that's why I'm putting my acrylic block like this, making sure she's stuck on there pretty well. And then I'm going to take my VersaFine Clair in Nocturne, and I'm going to ink her up. Now there's a lot of detail on this stamp, so I really need to make sure I've got enough ink on there. And I just may use my stamping mat for that, because she's quite solid there. I just want her to stamp really well. I'm going to position her on here and press. And really press on these details, making sure everything is pressed onto that paper, and give that ink some time to adhere, because there's a lot of ink on there already and there's moisture on there, so we need to make sure that that moisture is not resisting the ink. So just give it time to adhere, give it time to sink in, and that will give us hopefully a beautiful stamp. Let me see. Beautiful. Look at that. Look at that detail. Can you see it? Love it. Next, I'm going to take my stencil brush and some, there it is, Merlot. And I'm going to take my moon mask. I'm going to position the moon mask where I want it. And I want her to be sitting sort of in the moon. Just like that. And I'm going to tap off my brush so there's not much on there, and I'm just going to flick that off. Just creating a bit of a moon. I like the bottom, but I think at the top it needs a tiny bit more. So let me put that back. There we go. I'm just gonna, there we go. Beautiful. That's that. The elements can go to the side, because now I'm going to use this beautiful set, which is called Leaf Creeper, and I'm going to start with the biggest one, and I'm going to use Chianti. I'm just going to create some nice foliage hanging down from the top down. Doing first generations, second generations. Making a mess of my fingers. And by putting that second generation, you create some depth, you see? So that way it gives the illusion of more hanging in the back as well. I like that. I like that. Let's put one more right there and one more right here. Just want this to be a bit more intense. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to put this one to the side, and I'm going to take the smaller one, put that on my thingy. This one to the side, and I'm going to use Monarch. I'm just going to stamp that over top, just giving it a bit more of a different color in there, which also helps with creating the illusion of depth. I just want this to be quite full, but the moon is still shining through there. So that's it. So the next stamp I'm going to use, but let me put this one away first. So next I'm taking the small lily flourish, and I'm just putting that on my stamp, and I'm going to use Nocturne. Just going to put that along the bottom here. Like that. And then this one can go here again. And then last but not least, I will be using, I just had it, here it is, this tiny little stamp, and it's called Mini Leaf Creeper. And I'm going to use that to create some foliage along the bottom here. Using some summertime for that. So I'm just going to stamp that right here, and the second generation. I'm just going to use that to fill up some of the empty spaces here, going over. You can also extend this, making it look like one bigger one, just by going like that. Oops. Like that. Nothing more. That's it with the stamps for now. So let me quickly just heat set that, because I know myself I'm going to smoosh that. There we go. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz some water on my... Oh, that's not clean. Make sure you have a clean brush. I'm going to spritz some water, and what I want to do, because this ink is very water reactive, I want to just wet that a bit and take off some color just from the flowers, making it a tiny bit lighter. And taking away a bit of the color in the flowers, especially the orange, because I don't want that to mix with what I'm going to be doing next. It all makes sense in a second. I just want these flowers, this is also beautiful by the way, just bleach that, sort of a faux bleach, these flowers. Have a better base for what I'm going to color the flowers with, because since what I'm going to put on there is also water reactive, and I don't want it to mix in with the orange in particular, because that's not going to be beautiful. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Lavinia Mystical Mica Infused Mist Spray in Fruit Sorbet, give that a good shake, because the mica sinks to the bottom, so, but it actually it mixes really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spritz some, just a tiny bit, on my mat here. I'm going to take my brush, teeny weeny brush, and I'm going to color these flowers in using that mica spray. And a little bit goes a long way. So just dip in your point. Here I'm gonna come in with the orange part, and because I took that color away, it is becoming a beautiful pink color. Otherwise it would have mixed with the orange, giving me a bit more of a muddier color. So big flowers are done. I'm also going to do these little ones down here. So yeah, you got to be a bit patient, but Then again, I find it relaxing to do. It's not that much work. So these are dry now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with a tiny bit, taking off a lot, and then flicking some of this ink in the darkest part of the leaves, blending in with the rest, just giving it a bit more depth of color. Look at that. You see that shine? Can I pick that up on the camera? There we go. You see the shine of the mica? Love it. Love it. Next I'm going to use a tiny bit of the golden temple, and I'm going to use that to color in her wings. Just give those a hint of that color, of that beautiful gold mica. You see? Lovely. Lovely. Now the next step is quite simple actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Chianti and I'm going to ink up my brush and just go around the perimeter of the card, just darkening up that edge, drawing even more attention towards the inside. And I'm also taking Chianti down the bottom, just darkening up that bottom a bit, grounding the flowers in a little bit. What I'm going to do next is I've got my pastel pencil here, and I'm just going to go around that moon and smudge that out, just giving that a tiny bit more, a bit of a haze in a way. And then I'm just ever so slightly gonna lighten up that moon even more. There we go. It's funny because on camera it looks a bit patchy, but it's not. When I look at it like this, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's the same, but in real life it's smooth. Oh well. But I like that. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give her a tiny bit of a highlight in certain areas because she's sitting in front of the moon. Next I'm coming in with my white gel pen and I'm just going to trace her hair a bit, just like that. Next I'm taking my stickles. This is Stickles frosted lace, and I'm just gonna make sure it's not clogged up. I'm gonna tear this down, not tear it down, how do you call that? Come down with this. I don't want too big a blob, so I'm sort of taking these off by using the nozzle, and I'm just taking it off on my hand because I just want that illusion of sparkle and shine around her. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to the side, leave it to dry. I've got a scrap piece of paper here that I'm going to use to stamp out my sentiment. So I'm going to stamp that out using Nocturne. And then I have to be quick because I've got this nice and sparkly embossing powder, black sparkle, and I'm going to use that on this. So I'm going to take my powder, really going to powder that up because I know from past experience this stuff sticks to anything it can stick to. So, right, ink it up, give it a good layer of that ink and stamp it on here. Perfect. Now let's put on that embossing powder. Let it sit for a second. That went well. Okay, now this is glitter embossing powder, and when you use glitter embossing powder, it's important to heat it from the back. If you don't heat it from the back, you will blow off the glitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my heat tool and melt this powder, and then I'll be back. So let me see if I can catch the glitter on there. Yeah, there we go. You see? It's really nice holographic glitter, and I like that. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to tear this up. So I'm just going to tear around this. So I like that torn edge. Just going around. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Merlot and I'm lightly, listen to yourself David, lightly going to touch that side so it catches that torn edge, but it doesn't smudge the whole thingy. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tiny new, these are new, the mini stencil brushes. They're quite nice. I'm just going to blend that edge a little bit inwards. Not much, just enough to give it a hint of that beautiful color, Merlot. You see? I love this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that, take my glue, and I'm going to put that right on there. Right here in the center. So now it's time to put this onto my base card, which is right here. I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to go around this card. Now this card is a bit warped, that's why I'm using the glue, because that will really help me put that straight on the card base. And here we have it, the final result of this card. Look at that shine. I love the depth, the layeredness of it. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So if you like it too, please consider to subscribe to my channel. That's the first. That will really make my day. Give this video a thumbs up because that will help the YouTube algorithm, help other people find me, and leave a comment below. I love to hear from you and I always get back to you. So yeah, but yeah, I love how this one turned out. I'm really happy with it. So this is my first card with the new release from Lavinia. I absolutely adore it. There will be more, but yeah, more to come to my channel anyway. So thank you for watching and I would love to see you for the next one. Thank you. Bye.